levels. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll tell my fanboy story with Alex O'Connor. So I actually have followed Alex for a long time, from the time that he was the cosmic skeptic, the little snarky teenager who had his channel. Um, and and I always found his content back then kind of typical of a lot of kind of snarky atheists. Um, so I wasn't overly impressed. But then over time, he began to engage more seriously with things. And I noticed a shift. I remember he went and talked with William Lane Craig, and they talked about the Kalam cosmological argument, which is a famous argument for God's existence. And Alex took it seriously and was kind of engaging with it in good faith, kind of steel manning. And I realized something had changed. And I started following Alex again a little more closely. And I came to realize that Alex, and he later kind of told me that there was kind of an experience where he kind of came to realize that when he was younger, he wasn't taking religious arguments seriously enough. He hadn't really sufficiently steelmanned them and understood them. And then what happened was is that Alex began to talk with top level theists and theologians, and he realized, like, wait a minute, I think I may have been engaging with a straw man version of these people's arguments and ideas. And he began to realize, while he basically moved from a sort of militant atheist into more of what he calls kind of a militant agnostic.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so he's become more open to these things.
All right. All
Um,
right.
and then so anyway, so I kind of respected that, and I'd watch his stuff, and I always thought he was very well spoken and took people seriously. And then I got invited to go on Jubilee. So Jubilee reached out to me, and they said they were going to be doing a 25 Christians against one atheist. And I was stoked. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And I was wondering who the atheist was going to be. And then I realized,
Wait, did Jubilee Media just admit you're a Christian?
Stretching will not make you flexible and it will not eliminate your recurring injuries. Stretching will relax.
yes, they did.
That was
Okay.
probably very much to the chagrin of the 24 others that were chosen, I assume, right?
Oh, just you wait until you see. I'm going to tell the story of what happened at Jubilee on this podcast, because everyone's going to see it, but they're going to see the edited version. It comes out on Sunday. That's when Jubilee has notified us that they're going to release our episode. So on this Sunday, watch out for Jubilee.
Oh, did they
That's
promise you a full copy of the entire thing afterwards too?
No, they did not. Oh, by the way,
Oh.
if my eyes look weird, I literally have no idea why. I have not been smoking marijuana. I don't know if I'm
Look,
like
you just
pink
got
or
out of a
something.
debate with Alex O'Connor. You got two black eyes. None of us are gonna, we don't besmirch you for it. All right. No, I'm just kidding. Keep going.
So anyway, I get invited to go on to Jubilee. And I thought it might be Alex O'Connor, so I did a lot of research on Alex's arguments prior
Oh,
to.
really?
Yeah. No, I spent a lot of time looking into it, and Hayden Carroll joined me as well. So there were two of us, two Latter-day Saints in this thing. Now, people have to watch, but being there, my impression was, just so you guys know, the Christians got murdered. Alex O'Connor,
Oh no.
like, it was bad, you guys.
No,
Like,
the Christians got just
oh, they
Donkey
got
Kong
whooped.
stomped.
Like, it was bad.
They're
There were only-
cooked.
but there were two guys in that group, I think, that held their own, and it was myself and Hayden Carroll. And now, okay, maybe I'm just tooting my horn and being, oh, okay, we did well, but here's the thing. At the end of the episode, and I'm wondering if they're going to show this. So at the end, first of all, no one in the 25 people knew that I was a Latter-day Saint or Hayden. We did not have to say what denomination we were from or anything. And then, so at the end, Alex gets to choose one person from the 25 people that he wants to, like, challenge, right? Because he has to make a statement, and then we get to go up and, like, challenge it, right? But then it's his turn to turn around. He picks one person that he gets to go up against, and he gets to challenge them. And guess who
Okay.
he chose?
Oh, it's got to be you, dog.
He chose me. So
Okay.
he's like that fellow seems to be fairly philosophical, and I enjoyed his comments. Like, why don't you come up here? And I was like,
All right.
I was literally, like, blown away. I was like, oh my gosh, like, dude, this is crazy. Like, I thought it was just cool I was gonna get to interact with Alex at all. And, like, he chose me to do this. So it was cool. And again, I'm fanboying here. But I go up, and dude,
You're fanboying over an atheist? That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've liked Alex. I thought he was a good guy for a long time. It was funny when he walked into the room, all of the Christians started clapping. We were all super excited that it was him. A lot of us thought it was going to be him. And because we actually appreciate Alex, because he doesn't straw man people's religions. He tries his best to contend with the best arguments. So anyway, he calls me up. Now here's where it gets crazy. Okay. There are 10 million people that watch Jubilee.
Okay.
10 million subscribers. Okay. I think this video is going to get over 10 million views. It's going to come out.
All right.
Okay. I get a chance to go up, and I have to make a positive claim, and then Alex gets a chance to attack it. So I'm thinking, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do something bold. I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to do it. So I went
What'd
up.
you do?
in front of 25 other Christians or 24 other Christians in a circle with 10 million people watching. Every Christian on YouTube is going to watch this. And my claim was the restored gospel of Jesus Christ, also known as Mormonism, is the most logically coherent version of Christianity there is.
Oh.
Dude, you should have heard. I don't know if they're going to edit it out. There were literal gasps from the people.
You just walked in and basically dropped that their creeds are an abomination in modern speak.
That's basically what I did. I said, dude, as I walked up, I knew what I had an idea of what I was.
So
going to say.
zero diplomacy, bunker buster Moab in front of a bunch of Christians. You literally just say,
if they don't edit this out, every Christian on YouTube is going to watch me go up and say that our version of Christianity is more like rationally coherent than any other.
Well, apparently he agrees with you based off of this.
Again,
clip.
That's the thing. So that's part of the context. Okay, this story continues. I'm telling you, everything Alex was saying in this little thing that everyone has was connected to my conversation in this Jubilee episode. Because here's what happens: we do our thing. People can watch how it goes. I think I held my own against Alex. I'm not gonna say I owned him, but he didn't know a lot about Mormonism. And anyway, the thing ends. I'm just elated. I'm like, dude, this is so cool. I was on Jubilee. I got to go. Alex invited me to do this. I got to basically tell every Christian that we're the best in front of the whole world.
Oh, man, okay.
I was just like, this is so cool. It can't get any better than this. And then Alex comes up to me. We're done shooting. We're kind of all in the after thing.
Yeah.
He comes up to me and says, he's like, hey, would you like to go and get something to eat?
Wait, you were doing the accent before, though. Was it?
I know.
No, keep trying. It's like it's 50-50.
He comes up with his accent. His accent is so smooth. That Oxford accent is just beautiful. So he comes up and he's like, well, some of us are going to be going out to get something, maybe go to a pub or something. Would you like to join us? And I'm like, yes. I felt like I literally, and it's so dumb. I'm sorry to be such a fanboy, but I was literally like, you ever have that thing where you get to meet someone that you really admire online, and then they're like, oh, you're cool. Let's go hang out together. Like that literally was like what happened.
Okay, cool. I was like, rock on. Okay.
I was like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy.
Okay.
And then I end up, he invited, I think maybe like 10 of us or 15 of us from the show to come and go out to eat afterwards. And so we go there, and it just so happens, I wasn't like gunning for it or something, but it just so happens I ended up sitting right across from him in this group.
Okay.
So me and Hayden sitting right next to me. We spent I can't remember. I think we got there on like 6 or 7. We were there until they closed when they closed at midnight. We were still talking, and they closed up, and we like left. But during that time, we talked about theology, philosophy, the nature of God. And he was just the coolest, most down-to-earth guy. I was a little bit of a fanboy before, but when I actually got to know the guy, I was shocked. He's one of my favorite people I've ever just like had a conversation with on these topics. Very smart, very open-minded. Just, it was great. And there were 3 facts that I brought up that he had never heard before that he kind of was like, oh my gosh. And they were that Joseph Smith was running for president. He didn't know that. And that he was the first presidential candidate to be assassinated. He didn't know that. He then, I also said, and
well, why is that significant to you?
Well,
out of all of the factoids. Okay.
When we watch the video, you'll see why. Another thing that I brought up was I told him about the extermination order, because I was talking about, we've had a lot of persecution, and we're talking about the different kind of stuff. And I told him about the Missouri extermination order. He's like, wait. He's like, you mean that in the United States, there was once a time when you could kill Mormons? And I was like, yep. He was like, that's unbelievable. And then I told him, what was the other thing we talked about? We talked about Book of Mormon witnesses. I'm sitting there surrounded by all these Christians, and they're trying to like kind of dig at me. I'm like, well, you do realize that we have more written eyewitness accounts of the gold plates than these guys do of the resurrection. Okay. And Alex was kind of like, oh, like, what do you guys think of that? So now with that in mind, okay, with all this context in mind, let's watch what he says, and you'll see why I was going, oh my gosh, he remembered. I would say let's roll the clip.
Okay, cool. Well, then what I'll do here is pull up said clip. For anybody that's wondering, this is the title of the clip. It's right here. I'll put it up in front of everybody. Is Alex O'Connor Confronts Me on Defending Wes Huff is the name of the video, and it's on the YouTube channel Rustlin KD, which he's a fellow Californian here. I've reached out to him to see if he wanted to do some kind of collab or something like that, but I'm sure he gets insane amounts of incoming correspondence, as do I. I'm not expecting him to have seen this, but who knows? Maybe hopefully someday soon we can talk to him, but it looks like he talked to your boy, and we're going to tee up the clip right here. Go Rustlin.
subsequently what follows the resurrection of Jesus and the church that is planted and started. So that's fascinating.
Okay.
Do you let me see if I can hit some of these super chats with while you're here before we wrap. Thank you for doing this, Alex. I appreciate you. Hopefully we do this someday in person. Here's an interesting one from Deadpool. He said, Alex, if you had to join one Christian denomination, which do you believe has the most consistency according to the history of the church and scripture? This is where Alex would have to pick a jersey.
Mormonism, of course.
Oh my gosh. Pause it.
Okay. All right.
Hold on. Couple thoughts on this. The first is that, remember, that was my contention when he called me up. The claim that I made is that Mormonism is the most logically consistent one. Now, granted, he's trolling them. Okay. Alex doesn't know enough about our religion, I think, to even make that claim, and he wouldn't. But they kind of put him on the spot. So he kind of is like, well, I'm going to say Mormonism just to kind of troll you guys and to see how you guys react to it. And it's hilarious how he reacts.
Okay. Well, also, is what was the question? Like, we're going to go back and we're going to re-listen to the question here so that all of us can remember, like, what is the specific question that he is answering? And it was this.
You believe has the most consistency according to the history of the church and scripture.
Okay, so which denomination do you think has the most consistency according to the history of the church and scripture? So what he's asking for is consistency, which is, frankly, if I'm not mistaken, the basis of most of the atheistic arguments that defer to science. Consistent naturalistic observation is the basis of the scientific method, and those that are very proof heavy, like show me the proof of X, show me the proof of Y, what's the proof of the resurrection? You know, there's an argument that, okay, you're not going to consistently retest miracles, okay, but at the same token, if you're asking people to believe things that have never been observed or can't be repeatably observed, for some people that's a bridge too far and that's a stretch, right? So the criteria of the question was pretty simple. Consistency. And then he says the following.
This is where Alex would have to pick a jersey.
Mormonism, of course.
Oh my God.
Okay, so now it's funny. Right now it's just funny.
That's amazing.
But you'll notice, I want you to watch Ruslan's face, because though there was definitely some humor, and by the way, tell me if I was wrong on this, if you got a different read, Jacob, but I got a read that, like, okay, yeah, it was funny. Like, there was definitely some humor there, but at the same time, like, I'm about to tell you the serious ramifications of the joke that I just said, right?
That's exactly it. And you can see that in Ruslan's face goes from this like, oh, ha, 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 we're going to make fun of the Mormons. That's great. I'm with you, Alex. Like, let's make fun of those guys. Yeah. And then it changes and his face is like, wait, no, we don't.
No.
Yeah.
It's like that meme.
There, Alex.
You know the Princess Amidala meme? Like, then we're going to raid the castle because we're the good guys that always win, right? Wait, we're the good guys, right? You know, it's just like, it's literally just like the meme. Okay, so we're gonna let it play for another couple minutes here. Actually, not a couple minutes, another couple seconds.
We don't consider them Christians. Give me another one.
No, but that's the interest.
Okay, so of course, we don't consider them Christians. Now you'll notice
he wants to get away from it. You see what he's doing? He says, "No, you got to pick another one. Like, you can't be with those guys."
Well, also, that's simply just, what's the logical fallacy that's called? Usually they have just an appeal to authority. You know what I'm saying? Just to dismiss it out of without having to deal with it. But you'll notice here, they don't give a why, but Alex O'Connor's going to give a why. And before we play the rest of this clip, I actually want to give you credit, Jacob. You actually said all of this in the last video that we recorded with you about Wes Huff and Billy Carson. And after we watch this clip, I'm going to play the intro of like 2 or 3 videos ago where you predicted, guys, if you dismiss us through scoffery without talking to us, if you talk about us but not with us, you're going to end up looking like Billy Carson to anybody that wants to back up their opinions and their thoughts and their judgments with any kind of facts or figures or data, and you're going to end up looking bad. And you'll notice that, unfortunately, here, Ruslan, I want to do a collaboration with you, bro. Christians out there, we got nothing but love for you. You're fellow members of the body of Christ. We want to be cool with you. But if your only appeal is to either authority or scoffery, when people like stop and say, okay, it's time to get serious, you're going to end up looking bad. And I kind of feel like he looked a little bit bad here. I don't want to rub it in his face or anything, but I feel like it looked a little bit bad. So we're going to play the rest of the clip here. Actually, I'll go back a couple of seconds just so people can see it in context.
You believe has the most consistency according to the history of the church and scripture. This is where Alex would have to pick a jersey.
Mormonism, of course.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
We don't consider them Christians. Give me another one.
No, but that's the interesting thing is that they're sort of often not. I don't even know if they really like to consider themselves Christians as such. I think there's some really interesting. I've been learning a lot about Mormonism. Do you know, by the way, who the first ever U.S. presidential candidate to be assassinated was?
He was a Mormon.
It was Joseph Smith.
Whoa.
Oh, he was a candidate. Joseph Smith was running for the.
Yeah,
That's
he ran for
interesting.
president.
Wow.
There's a lot of really interesting stuff about
What do you feel about? What do you feel about
Pause it
Daniel?
for a second.
Okay.
No, where do you get that fact?
Yeah.
It's like, and keep going. You'll notice the things he talks about. He talks about all the stuff that we talked about. It's like, I was listening to this going, holy cow, Alex remembered.
Yeah. And so, well, I was also going to say you should have seen his face like, oh yeah, it's a Mormon, right? Because we're going to joke about him. Oh. And to me, that's a little bit of a wake up call for these guys. Like, what's the number one rule of anti-Mormonism? That they never refute scripture, they only fulfill it. And I can't help but think of the first chapter and not first chapter, but the first section of Doctrine and Covenants. What's the first verse say? That the church will come out of darkness to light, right? And I really do feel like the rise of atheism and atheism 2.0, yeah, there's the corner of it that just descended into wokeism and all of us can't stand it and so on and so forth. But there's this other corner of it that has started demanding naturalistic observation of religious phenomena. It's why New Age is also getting a lot bigger, is because people recognize, just like Jordan Peterson has recognized, and just like so many of these other big male podcasters have realized, that we are all religious. Like, we're all religious, and either it descends into woke religion or else it is a regular denominational religion. Or like, how do we manage this need to have religion in our lives? Okay. And as people assess that, they're going to defer to coping mechanisms that they're used to. And in a very atheistic society, we all kind of have the scientific method as a backbone for how we investigate things. We want evidence. And all history is basically an approach to historical documents in the same way that modern cops and investigators approach crime scenes. Okay. We want phenomena that's repeatable. We want to know, well, what's reliable? Is this a camera or is this a witness testimony? Sometimes witness testimonies can be bad. Well, especially when there's time or there's animus or there's motivations involved. So we all have learned to check our own histories and so on and so forth. And that's when strengths of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and consistencies in doctrine, such as the fact that there's more witnesses for the golden plates and the miraculous phenomenon through the witnesses, the 11 to 19 people that all testified and never went back on that testimony about about their witness of the gold plates. Yeah, sure, there's people that had falling out with Joseph Smith. Sure, there's people that ended up being excommunicated from the church and so on and so forth. But of those witnesses in the beginning of the Book of Mormon, like they did not deny to their dying days, writing it on some of their own gravestones, okay, that what they saw and heard and the plates that they felt were true and real. And this is exactly what some of the Christians try and not resort to, but refer to when trying to prove, okay, the witness of the early apostles and the early Christian fathers and so on and so forth. So when people start approaching religion with fresh eyes, like Alex does, or many people like him, Mormons, as they call us, or members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we're in a really, really good spot because those witnesses, that's unimpeachable. And you can say very strong and bold statements like there is more evidence for the golden plates than there was for the resurrection. And that raises eyebrows and makes people think, wow, holy smoke. So anyway, I'm going to keep playing the clip here. Let's see what they said. There's a boring banter about Dan McClellan. I'll just sum it up really fast. Alex O'Connor respects Dan McClellan because he separates his religion from his scholarship. And then now back into the fun part about Mormonism, if I've been reading the transcript correctly.
Mormonism, but I think Mormonism's a fascinating religion in many ways. A lot of people aren't aware of its history and also of a lot of its doctrines and theological ideas and its different idea about like what God is and all of this kind of stuff. And the history of persecution of Mormons in the United States is pretty amazing too. You know, like there's so much really interesting stuff. The extermination order of Missouri, where like people were told to just kill them. You know, like it's an unbelievable history. And of course, Joseph Smith dies in a shootout in prison. Like it's one of the most dramatic stories of world religion.
Pause right there for 1 second.
Uh-huh.
The shootout at the local jail part. That's a trope he picked up from his buddy Trent Horn. Obviously, I'd love to talk with Alex about that. It's not categorizing that as a shootout at the local jail is.
Yeah, it was a man fighting for his life as a mob was shooting at him. Tombstone, 1996. Okay, and by the way, here's that face. Like, there's that face where Ruslan realizes, oh crap. Whoa, he's actually talking him up. Okay, no, this, no. I predict he's gonna want to end this real soon. I don't know where we are in the clip.
One thing more on this, is that, see, here's what's happening in this conversation and why Ruslan's face is so like, oh no, this isn't good. It's because Alex is taking us seriously. The problem is that's all I want. I don't care if people believe or don't believe what we have. But when you're not even willing to examine it with the same seriousness that you examine creedal Christianity, that's pure bigotry. That has nothing to do with our actual beliefs. It means you don't understand, because as atheists find out, like my friend, I oh shoot, Emerson Green, who's actually friends with Alex, by the way. In fact, Emerson Green posted this clip and he said, Alex, like, welcome to the dark side or welcome to the club or something, because Emerson thinks that Mormonism is the most plausible form of Christianity. He's been on record saying that.
Interesting.
And so, and I found that when you actually talk to an atheist, say, look, you're not in the Christians versus Mormon debate, but you can judge from the outside. Does the Trinity, for instance, make more sense than
ex nihilo is knucking futs? Like like Trinitarian math is worse than girl math on TikTok. Okay, like seriously, it's just credist math that makes no sense. It's where woke comes from, forcing people to believe in nonsensical creeds that make no sense. That it's everything and nothing, while simultaneously being above and below, while male and female, but not either. Like, where do you think this chaos came from?
Here's our weird situation we're in. Atheists who are open-minded and who are willing to take religion seriously are our best friends. Because you know what they'll do? They'll side with us every single time.
When there's a standard, and the standard just isn't an appeal to, not an appeal to authority, but an appeal to population. Like, well, that's what we say, and that's what we've always said, and we're the ones that are in charge, right?
Yep.
And literally, it's like woke gets angry when you have wrongthink, and it wants to cancel you when you are guilty of wrongthink. And your only crime isn't an actual measurably quantifiable crime. It's just that you went against the hive mind, and how dare you, and you deserve to lose everything. That's the way creedal Christianity in North America has behaved socially, and that's why guys like Ruslan, I can't remember how to pronounce his name, but they can say like, oh yeah, we don't consider them Christians here, and expect everybody to move along because we the Christians have said that. But no, that doesn't work with atheists. That doesn't work with everybody else who grew up remembering the Christian rights bigotry in the 80s and 90s. That doesn't work anymore, and all of a sudden they're caught off guard because they have no coping mechanisms. They don't know how to handle members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, if not through scoffery.
Yeah, and now I will say this though, I'll be very aware. A lot of these atheists will say, yeah, you're right, Mormons. Pine Creek, for instance, he has a show. I actually like him, hardcore atheist, and he'll say there's better evidence for Mormonism than there is for creedal Christianity. He'll just say it straight up, and he's correct. Now he makes that point, being like, we all agree that Mormonism is crazy. Therefore, if they have better evidence than you, then that means that your Christianity is even more irrational than Mormonism, and therefore you need to abandon it. But we say, no, Christianity actually makes a good case. We just make an even better case. And so we have this weird alliance that we can form. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in my mind, I don't care if you're an atheist or not. If someone is out there saying, hey, Christians, do you realize that Latter-day Saints have a very compelling theology, a very compelling history? Well, yeah, history even, because it's miraculous, but they have more witnesses than you do. You know, that's a good thing. And we should look to, if I'm with an atheist, my thing is this. Atheist, I'd love to talk to you about the debates about God, but also help me out for a minute. Are we crazier than other Christians? And what's funny is that when you have that conversation, I'm like I'll ask him this. Name another Christian denomination that you think is more logically consistent and rational than the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Like, try and defend it. And they can't, because they aren't. Like, I'm sorry, like you said, ex nihilo, nuts. The Trinity, nuts. Biblical inerrancy, nuts. Well, and the thing is, that's what Alex goes after with the creedal Christians. So I'm like, yes, good. Expose that.
But also, my thing is this. I don't care if it's nuts. Believe in your nuts. I live in LA. We all have our crazy. We all have people that on set, but hey, good for you in the body oil. It's then you're not somebody who just believes something crazy. You're a mean and cruel bigot. And that's my beef with the way of crazy. Because he knows
Moroni and the plates than we do, unfortunately.
Who's the he? You mean Ruslan? Sorry, I veer verbose.
No, go ahead. Go and let's finish up the clip, because it's funny, because watch what he does. He wants to get out of it. He's like, he's not enjoying this conversation.
Who's the he? You mean Ruslan or Ruslan?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. We're going to keep playing. Go.
Of course, it remains the case that we have, because it's so new, we have better eyewitness testimony to Moroni and the plates than we do, unfortunately, to the resurrection of Jesus, it seems. But that was also a point that raised some eyebrows in my original video, which I found quite entertaining.
Yeah. Alex, let me ask you this, because these questions are kind of all the same.
Oh, that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's change the subject.
Get out of here. Wait. Okay. Because he knows Alex O'Connor has done his homework, so his statement is unimpeachable. And it is unimpeachable that we have more evidence, more eyewitness accounts, more everything that people consider hard evidence, primary sources for the gold plates than we do for the resurrection resurrection of Jesus Christ. Yet the people whom we should be sharing our affinity for the resurrection of Jesus Christ with keep trying to kick us out of the club because they don't like that we don't follow their specific dogmatic version of the nonsensical creeds. And this is where we actually get along with atheists, because when Christians try and say, oh yeah, you're dumb because you don't believe what? We're not allowed to believe. There's a virgin birth of the universe over there, but the virgin birth over here, that's one bridge too far. You know
that's what I think atheists, what they can really help do. You can say, is there a double standard here with us? Like, they're like, and the atheist is going to look at him and be like, yes, it's obvious and it's ridiculous. Like, you guys talk about, oh, an angel appeared to Moroni, appeared to Joseph Smith, and then all the Christians are like, that's so ridiculous. Meanwhile, the atheist is like, don't you guys believe in like Marian apparitions and like,
yeah. Yeah, double standard. That was the word I've been looking for this whole time, but you're so much more philosophical than I. So good job. All right, so do we keep playing, or I think it ends right there?
I think it ends right there.
Yeah, okay.
That's his abort, and then he's able to get off the topic. But it's hilarious because you can see that he's just like, oh no, Alex is taking Mormonism seriously. He's not willing to laugh at it with the rest of us. Abort. In fact, he's actually saying they have better witnesses than us. Like,
Yeah, and he knows it because he knows the kind of person that Alex O'Connor is, now, at least, as of late. And man, that is a tough pill to swallow. Similarly, tough pill to swallow to you saying their creeds are an abomination, basically, in front of them to their faces. No wonder you get along with Alex O'Connor, man. That is savage.
Dude, that is the most bold thing I've ever done in my life, and everyone needs to stick around to the end of the Jubilee episode to see if they edit that out or something. But you have to remember that episode, every Christian on the freaking internet is going to watch we're doing an atheists against Christians. It's Alex O'Connor. Anyone in this world of Christian apologetics is going to watch that video, and they're going to watch me go up.
Well, it all depends who directs it, because I know they subcontract out individual directors for individual episodes. That's not always the same guy. And if your guy is more interested in making Christians look bad, then he would probably want to augment the times when Alex O'Connor kind of dunks on them and makes them look stupid. And since he didn't make you look stupid, you might just hit the editing room floor. If he's editing for entertainment value, then sure, some of those tits for tats or those bold statements on all fronts might make it into the final cut. But you guys sit there we sat there for 3 hours when I was on it. You were there for probably 3 hours as well, I'd assume, right?
Yeah.
Final product is what, 45 minutes, 50 minutes? So 66% of the stuff has to go. So, okay, let me just hit a couple of super chats before we go any further. Just so you guys know, his name is Jacob Hanson. He runs the podcast and the Facebook group called Thoughtful Faith. He can be found on Twitter at Thoughtful Saint if you guys want to hit him up there. We're streaming on all platforms right now. I'm going to try and read some of the best comments from